Upon waking up to the world of obscurity, Lin Jia was worried about his own survival and discovered that he could collect character cards and item cards from reality. Gradually, Lin Jia realized that the strong and proud nobles in the world were just his clothes. Obtaining Yi Fan character card, this Qin fairy, Yi Fan, have been enamored with you for a long time. Even if you are a demon, I am willing to win one heart and never part ways with your white head. Duan, I've been displeased with you for a long time. You know how to dig graves every day just by looking at your fists. Obtain Imperial Weapon Void Mirror item card, obtain the Imperial Soldier West Imperial Tower item card, obtain Jiumiao character card. Jiumiao surrounded the Imperial army and pursued the Stone Emperor. Shi Huang, don't run, let's play. This damn Supreme Aura still has so many Imperial soldiers, who wouldn't run away would be foolish. Everyone breathed in, the little princess of the Ji family is so lively and fierce. After finishing a good deed, Lin Jia escaped unharmed. It was done under a different name, what's up to me, Lin Jia. Keywords of the novel. Zhetian starts from role.playing without pop-ups, Zhetian starts from role.playing with full TXT download, Zhetian starts from role.playing with the latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Play. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Play. Does it seem a bit cold below? Lin Jia rubbed her eyes, grabbed her hand, but didn't catch the bed. She reluctantly opened her eyes and suddenly her pupils narrowed. This is not her room, there is a big tree in front of her. Lin Jia sat up straight and realized that this was not her familiar body. A panic swept through Lin Jia's heart, and she took a few deep breaths in an attempt to calm down. She looked around at the environment, and after a big tree, she could still see vines from afar. She thought of a word. Time travel. Lin Jia couldn't believe that she had actually traveled to another person's body. I was clearly reviewing the novel, Covering the Sky, for the 10th time before, but when I fell asleep, I woke up here. Lin Jia still didn't quite believe it and wanted to get up, only to realize that she hadn't put on her pants yet. She looked around and saw that there were not many people. She took out the last bit of paper and wiped it, putting on her pants. Suddenly, she felt a huge headache, and memories that didn't belong to her flooded into her mind. Lin Jia. Graduated 3 years ago, shrewd and skilled in communication skills. A few days ago, I participated in a classmate gathering and made an appointment to climb Mount Taishan with my classmates. There was an accident when we climbed to the top. 9 huge dragons blocking the sky and the sun pulled a huge coffin from the sky and landed on Mount Taishan. The group of people who were nearby were unlucky. They were shocked and fell to the side of the giant coffin. The lid of the coffin was opened, and they were directly sucked into it. Amidst a roar, a group of people from the past were transported by a giant coffin to a place with the 4 characters, De Lei Yin Temple, written on it. Encountered a terrifying crocodile there, killed many people, and managed to escape into the giant coffin again before regaining his life. When the giant coffin stops, it's here, in a place called Aragujan. Yi Fan. Ha! Why are you so familiar? After processing all the memories, Lin Jia felt a bit strange, as if she had heard of them somewhere. Especially this person's name is the most familiar. She was shocked the next second as she had seen it in the novel, Covering the Sky. So say it. Did she travel through time and become Lin Jia in the novel, Covering the Sky? Same name and surname, in accordance with the law of time travel. So, to put it this way, Lin Jia confirmed that it was time to travel, and the next second she quickly ran out. According to the plot setting and the memories of her predecessor, now she and the group of Yi Fan should have just walked out of the bronze coffin and gone to the restrooms separately. At this time, Yi Fan and Pang Bo will go to the mountains to eat a fruit that has a miraculous effect of rejuvenation. Revitalization, whether for potential or appearance, is something that cannot be missed. As expected, as soon as Lin Jia came out, he saw Yi Fan and Pang Bo walking up the mountain. Despite knowing what they were going to do, she still showed a curious expression. Yi Fan. Pang Bo. Where are you going? Lin Jia immediately chased after them and greeted them. Yi Fan turned around and saw that it was Lin Jia, smiling slightly. Let's go up the mountain and see if there are any wild fruits to eat. Do you want to come with us? Upon hearing that they could go together, Lin Jia's eyes lit up, which saved her from speaking. She immediately nodded. Okay, I was also hungry all the way, and it was so scary all the way. It happened to be breathable. As Lin Jia spoke, she patted her chest as if she was really scared. Between the ups and downs of the waves, there was a faint white glint that made two boys look sideways. Then let's go together. Pang Bo did not object, as if feeling guilty. He withdrew his gaze and walked up the mountain first. Lin Jiayu glanced at Yi Fan. Although Yi Fan also glanced sideways, there was no feeling of liking in his eyes. Unfortunately, Yi Tiandi, it would be great to be a boyfriend, but seeing this kind of liking is probably enough. Just being a sandbag for practicing guns is not a long-term solution. This situation is mostly influenced by the shrewd image of the predecessor. This impression is almost deeply ingrained in adults. If it is deliberate, they may think they have ulterior motives. If it is not deliberate, the relationship cannot be further developed, and they can only give up. With a sigh in her heart, Lin Jia's face showed no signs of disappointment, but a relaxed expression. She took a step forward and was the first to run ahead. Lin Jia, slow down. Yi Fan shouted from behind, be careful, the mountain road may be slippery. Got it. Lin Jia turned around and smiled at Yi Fan. I'll be careful, you two just take your time. Yi Fan and Pang Bo saw that she was full of energy, so they shook their heads and smiled, quickly following her up the mountain. Lin Jia was the first to reach the mountaintop and immediately saw vines surrounding the pool. There were some small trees growing around the pool, with broad leaves that looked like human palms. Above the small tree grew several bright red fruits, resembling cherries but the size of chicken eggs. Lin Jia breathed a sigh of relief and slowed down his pace. This scene shows that I have truly come to the world of obscurity, otherwise there wouldn't have been so many coincidences. Yi Fan and Pang Bo also walked up and saw these fruits, their eyes lit up. It smells so good, I'll take one first. Lin Jia didn't wait for the two of them, only what he ate in his mouth was his own. As soon as she reached out her hand, Yi Fan quickly ran forward and grabbed her wrist, saying with concern, be careful not to be toxic. Let's give it a try as a few men first. Lin Jia was slightly taken aback, not because of Yi Fan's behavior, but because something new suddenly appeared in her mind. The lines were quickly outlined, forming an illusory card. There is a bust on the card, which is Yi Fan. Below the bust is information, in small characters line by line. Strangely enough, Lin Jia knew what the word was without looking closely. Character. Yi Fan, strength. Ordinary people, playable, original/fake leather. When the card was formed, there was also a corresponding message coming, and after Lin Jia accepted it, she roughly understood this. This card can make him become the person on the card, which is almost a perfect replica, including all aspects of the supernatural power. As long as it is the collected person's own, it can be the same, which is very unfortunate. Of course, external objects such as clothing and weapons cannot be played together and need to be collected separately. The disadvantage is that it requires touch to collect, which can be quite labor-intensive to play. For humans, the first collection can only cross one realm, for example, the first realm can only collect the first and second, and cannot collect the third. Once the first collection is completed, there is no need to collect in the future. You can update the character card version by touching it, which means that after the first collection, it can be updated and used directly regardless of the target's level. For objects, they require an equal amount of energy to be collected. After collection, the card becomes the same as the item, but the same usage also requires energy consumption, and can only be used by herself. Collecting talents is the most cost-effective for people, after all, advancing quickly. Lin Jia took a deep breath after understanding, this thing is a bit against the sky. For example, Imperial soldiers. Unfortunately, Lin Jiaxiu is too weak to collect at all, we can only think about it. There is also a card of a golden crocodile in my mind, which attacked the group of people before me. The card annotation was that the crocodile ancestor was distracted, which shook Lin Jia's heart. She remembered that Li Xiaoman coexisted with the crocodile ancestor, and this thing was very tricky. She guessed that her predecessor died like this, but when she passed through, her golden finger killed this thing. Lin Jia couldn't help but feel a little relieved, otherwise she might have had a hard time escaping death. She suddenly heard someone calling her, immediately regained consciousness, and saw Yi Fan's small hand flickering in front of her. "What are you doing?" Lin Zhetian said with a hint of anger in her phoenix eyes. Pang Bo might ate a fruit and said, "He saw you in a daze and asked you to come and eat it. We've tried it and it's not poisonous." End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Jiumiao Spring Water. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Jiumiao Spring Water. Upon hearing the word fruit, Lin Jia ignored Yi Fan and walked to the small tree, picking 3 or 4 and eating them. It has to be said that this thing is truly a divine fruit. 1 is refreshing and 2 are no longer fatigued. Plus the sweet and fragrant taste, it's really amazing. Lin Jia received a message while eating, but unfortunately it indicated that there was insufficient energy to collect. She's not angry either, just come back later. As for hiding it, Lin Jia knows that going out will be perceived by those who are blessed in the sky, and it is unlikely that she wants to stay. Lin Jia ate the fruit and looked at the Lingquan water. She picked up a handful of water and drank it, while also paying attention to the collected information. Perhaps the effect was not good, so it was uncertain whether it could be collected. Just after drinking, a message appeared in time. Item: Jiumiao Spring Water, false, quantity. 1 drop, note. The spring water specially used by the ruthless emperor to irrigate the 9 wonderful immortal medicines has degraded its effectiveness due to long-term neglect. Meet collection conditions. Do you want to collect? Lin Jiasin was overjoyed and decisively chose yes. She felt that something had been extracted from the place where the mysterious power had gathered after eating the fruit before, and then condensed into a card in her mind. Item: Jiumiao Spring Water, fake, can be improved, quantity. 1 drop, input energy can be infinitely replicated, note. The spring water specially used by the ruthless emperor to irrigate the 9 wonderful immortal medicines has degraded its effectiveness due to long-term neglect. Lin Jia's face was full of surprise, and indeed the collection was successful. However, the use indicates insufficient energy, and forcefully using the host will enter a dying state, which scared Lin Jia not to continue trying. Even so, it is still worth her happiness. Yi Fan looked at Lin Jia's happy expression and felt a bit inexplicable. Can eating a fruit make him so happy? Pang Bo looked at Lin Jia and then at the fruit. Does this fruit have the effect of making people stupid? Otherwise, why is such a shrewd woman laughing foolishly here? Unable to figure it out, Yi Fan immediately called Lin Jia and Pang Bo down the mountain to meet with everyone. Lin Jia regained consciousness and agreed. She looked at Pang Bo's expression and immediately knew what he was thinking. She snorted and walked down the mountain without saying anything. Yi Fan couldn't figure it out anymore and immediately shouted, "Lin Jia, Pang Bo, hurry down the mountain to meet everyone." Lin Jia came to his senses and said, "Okay, I'll come right away." She smiled and agreed, her complexion looking unusually rosy. Pang Bo's face turned black upon seeing this, and it seemed that there was something wrong with the fruit that could make Lin Jia change like this. Lin Jia noticed Pang Bo's expression and immediately realized his thoughts, giving him a blank glance. She snorted and angrily kicked Pang Bo, walking straight down the mountain without saying a word. Pang Bo scratched his head and inwardly exclaimed to himself, "The needle in the bottom of a woman's heart is like a needle in the sea. It changes as he says, 1 second it was still sunny, and the next second it was cloudy and rainy." He put away the fruit and followed suit. Although Pang Bo's performance somewhat disappointed Lin Jia, she is currently in a very good mood and has no intention of paying attention to him. Collecting this fruit represents that she will make progress quickly in the future. She also knows the plot and may even become emperor before Lao Jinwu. This thought made her extremely happy. The three of them went down the mountain, one in front and one behind. As it was a small hill, it didn't take long for them to go down. The people below had already finished using the restroom and were waiting. Lin Jia knew that there would be some conflicts coming up, so she immediately followed behind Yi Fan. Starting from now on, Yi Tiandi's thighs will not be as easy. Yi Fan divided the fruit among the Lu Yi and others whom he admired, and the others immediately became dissatisfied and wanted to snatch it. As soon as Yi Fan descended the mountain, the fragrance emanating from the fruit immediately caught everyone's attention. In this environment, the food is already too difficult to obtain, and the fragrance is like tempting them. Li Changqing walked closer and saw the fruit in Yi Fan's hand with a hint of greed in his eyes. "Where did this fruit come from? Give it to me quickly." He reached out to grab it, but Pang Bo immediately wanted to stop him. Unexpectedly, Lin Jia's movements were faster. She held on to Li Changqing's wrist with one hand and said sternly, "Li Changqing, what are you doing?" Li Changqing's strength is not small, and as a woman without cultivation and regular exercise, Lin Jia's strength is naturally not as good as his. Lin Jia's mouth curved, triggering the character card representing Yi Fan in her mind. Now Yi Fan is an ordinary person, just an ancient holy body, and his strength is naturally not small. As stamina is lost, character cards are activated and energy is released. "I want that fruit." Li Changqing tried to break free, but found that Lin Jia's strength was so amazing that he couldn't even break free. "Give it to me, I'm starving." "Even if you starve to death, it doesn't mean you can grab it casually." Lin Jia looked at Li Changqing coldly, with a light smile on his lips and a sarcastic tone. "Li Changqing, you are getting more and more edible. You won't even let go of the fruit I've worked hard to find. I had a lot of effort to find this fruit. If you want to eat it so much, why don't you go up the mountain to find it yourself? Isn't that delicious? To be honest, the more you live, the more you go back. What a bat with chicken feathers on its body. What kind of bird are you? A big man who insists on snatching around, like a starving ghost, is not afraid of embarrassing himself." Lin Jia's words were so harsh that Li Changqing was scolded to the point of being bloody. She has always been intolerant of people like Li Changqing, and at this moment, she took the opportunity to satirize him and used the topic to criticize him, feeling a little relieved in her heart. Upon hearing these words, Li Changqing's face turned pale and he was so angry that he couldn't speak for a moment. He knew that Lin Jia's words were simply humiliating him in public. He clenched his fists as if about to make a move, and Pang Bo and Yi Fan walked forward at the same time, as if every move he made would face a thunderous blow. You. Seeing this, Li Changqing dared not take action easily and could only break his teeth and swallow it in his stomach, which made him extremely angry. At the same time, I was shocked to think of what had just happened. Such a great strength is not something that a girl can have. You should know that what he often exercises can't compare to a girl. Li Changqing's eyes flashed with a hint of fear. Seeing these people's expressions, he seemed to really know how to hit them. He didn't dare to act rashly, so he could only grit his teeth and compromise. "Okay." Pang Bo breathed a sigh of relief upon seeing this situation, but couldn't help but laugh or cry. He was originally going to stop Li Changqing, but he didn't expect Lin Jia to take the initiative and stop him obediently. This woman always prioritizes her interests, why has she changed today? Yi Fan was also somewhat surprised. He raised the corner of his mouth behind Lin Jia, watching Li Changqing's embarrassed appearance, and couldn't help but feel a hint of joy in his heart. This guy is arrogant and domineering. He deserves a warning from Lin Jia now. His impression of Lin Jia has also changed in his heart, perhaps due to the pressure of life before, Lin Jia had to do so. At this moment, a new environment has emerged and one's nature has been unleashed. Lin Jia noticed Yi Fan's appearance and suddenly felt that she had taken the right step. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Black Shadow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 4. Evil Men Report First. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Evil Men Report First. Suddenly, a loud roar sounded, piercing and terrifying. Lin Jia's heart was pounding with fear. Although there was also this sound in the original work, he didn't expect it to be so terrifying. Immediately afterwards, she looked up and the stunning scene left her stunned on the spot. Endless black mist emerged from the sky, blocking the sky and blocking the light of the stars and moon. In the pitch black, a huge shadow was seen waving chains, making a clanking sound of iron chains colliding. This scene plunged everyone into an indescribable shock. Faced with this massive shadow, any modern person will feel their insignificance and fragility. Everyone was frightened by the sudden change and the huge black shadow, and they searched everywhere for a place to hide, afraid of being stared at by the giant object. It was hard to imagine how much damage the chain would cause with a single wave of it. Everyone involuntarily held their breath, their nerves tense, as if the creature would come rushing towards them in the next second. This strong sense of shock and fear plunged everyone into a deathly silence, praying that the giant object could turn around and leave, removing this terrifying scene from before their eyes. Fortunately, that thing was obviously not here to find them. It sank directly into the abyss and made a loud roar. Lin Jia finally breathed a sigh of relief and sat down in place. It was too exciting, and her heart was still pounding. Pang Bo also wiped away a cold sweat and said, "I almost scared out of a heart attack, but fortunately it didn't notice us." Yi Fan nodded and said, "Yes, if it finds us, we little bugs probably won't even have any residue left." Everyone was grateful that they had escaped and started talking. It should have gone to the abyss trying to open the bronze coffin, right? Yeah, why are you appearing in such a place and scaring us into playing? It almost scared me out of my wits. I thought our deadline had come. Fortunately, it didn't notice us, otherwise the middle-aged among us would have to go into the coffin. Everyone relaxed, their expressions filled with joy, and they were all grateful that they had been spared from this disaster. Although we don't know what will happen next, at least they are all alive for now, which is enough to make everyone feel relieved and grateful. After experiencing the terrifying scene just now, although everyone felt exhausted, it was difficult for everyone to fall asleep in such a terrifying atmosphere. Until late at night, the drowsiness grew stronger and everyone slowly fell asleep. The next day, as soon as the sun rose, everyone woke up and was busy searching for wild fruits to eat, preparing to continue on their journey. After all, in this place, no one knows how far it will take to leave. Everyone else woke up thinking they needed to leave this haunted place as soon as possible, so after picking some wild fruits to satisfy their hunger, they set off again. Everyone was walking in a hurry, afraid that this place would bring more surprises. Everyone can't wait to leave here quickly and return to a familiar place. Lin Jia got up very early, she was already prepared. She kept staring at Wang Yan, afraid of missing the opportunity. Just as everyone was about to set off, Lin Jia's eyes flickered as Wang Yan secretly approached Lu Yi. She instantly understood that the opportunity had arrived and secretly approached. As Lin Jia approached, she heard Wang Yan say to Lu Yi, "I see your prayer beads are very beautiful. Can you lend me a look?" Lu Yi showed a hesitant expression, as if she didn't really want to show it to Wang Yan. But Wang Yan obviously couldn't wait anymore, so she reached out and snatched the prayer beads from Lu Yi's hand. Wang Yan looked around and saw a sparkling Buddha light emanating from the prayer beads. She then said with confidence, "It looks pretty good. Then my copper bell is also a treasure, let's exchange it." As she spoke, she forcefully stuffed the copper bell into Lu Yi's hand. Lu Yi didn't really want to exchange with Wang Yan, but in the face of Wang Yan's dominant attitude, she couldn't refuse directly and could only show a helpless and weak expression. In the end, she still couldn't hold on to the prayer beads in her hand. Wang Yan's intention is very obvious, she wants to get the prayer beads in Lu Yi's hand, while her copper bell is just a reason to forcibly exchange with Lu Yi. Lu Yi is always gentle and weak. Faced with Wang Yan's strong actions, she can only be at the mercy of others. Although she is unwilling in her heart, she still cannot refuse. Lin Jia also sighed when she saw this. With Lu Yi's temperament, there would always be someone who would occupy her prayer beads. She stepped forward and prepared to help Lu Yi retrieve her prayer beads. After Wang Yan succeeded, she wanted to turn around and return to her small group. But before she could take a step, she noticed someone blocking her in front of her. She saw clearly that the person coming was Lin Jia and immediately asked impatiently, "What's wrong? What's up?" Lin Jia sneered, not as weak as Lu Yi. Without saying a word, she gave Wang Yan a loud slap. Wang Yan was beaten and rubbed her face, exclaiming, "What are you doing?" Lin Jia ignored her and just kicked Wang Yan to the ground with a flying foot. Wang Yan fell to the ground and cried out in pain, "Are you crazy? What's the point of hitting or scolding?" Lin Jia said coldly, "The meaning is that you are not allowed to take advantage of Lu Yi." She then bent down and retrieved Lu Yi's prayer beads from Wang Yan's hand. Wang Yan lay on the ground, rubbing her waist and face, and said angrily, "You dare to take action. I'm not finished with you, Lin Jia." Lin Jia ignored her threat and returned the prayer beads to Lu Yi, saying, "Put away the beads. It's better for you to have a tough attitude toward some people who are calculating in such an environment, otherwise you will always be bullied." After hesitating for a moment, Lu Yi quickly waved her hand and said, "Thank you for helping me retrieve it. I will pay attention. You can help me hold the prayer beads, I'm worried I won't be able to keep them. Can you return the bell to her?" She knew she had a weak personality, and if Lin Jia wasn't by her side in the future and Wang Yan came to forcibly exchange, she didn't know what to do. Lin Jia nodded, smiled, and took the bell and prayer beads. Since she dares to grab them, she can't help but pay the price. This bell is the price. Lu Yi didn't know what to say either. She always felt it was not good to take someone else's things like this, but looking at Lin Jia's fierce appearance, she didn't dare to speak up. The movement and noise here immediately caught everyone's attention and surrounded them. Upon seeing this, Wang Yan immediately disguised herself as a victim. The villain first reported, "Everyone, look, I am very friendly and want to exchange items with Lu Yi. They not only don't exchange, but also hit me. Do you think this is fair?" As she spoke, she touched the dark blue on her body and frowned in pain, looking very pitiful. Pang Bo and his team were not clear about the situation and did not express any opinions upon seeing the situation. Li Changqing, who was gathered around, quickly approached and asked with concern, "Wang Yan, are you okay? How did you get beaten up like this?" End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Conditions. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Conditions. Upon hearing Li Changqing's question, Wang Yan immediately looked aggrieved and said, "I exchanged something with Lu Yi, but she didn't give it. I originally wanted to leave, but for some reason, Lin Jia hit me directly. Do you think this is reasonable? I extended a friendly hand, and they slapped me." Seeing Wang Yan's appearance, Lu Yi couldn't directly refute her and said, "No, there was a misunderstanding, Wang Yan interrupted her and said, "Do you still misunderstand? Everyone has seen that they hit me so hard. Is this Wuqing fake? You want to seek justice for me? After hearing Wang Yan's words, Lin Jia was extremely angry and laughed back. When I read the original work, I was very unhappy with her. I just wanted to teach her a lesson, but I didn't expect to behave like this. It's so despicable. Lin Jia suddenly felt a killing intent in her heart. She knew that the world she was going out in was not a modern city, but a world of the jungle. Even if she were to be killed here, there would be no problem. Wang Yan did not notice the heresy and continued to commit suicide. She saw that everyone thought she was the one who was beaten, and she continued to sell weekly with satisfaction, hoping to gain more sympathy. She wanted Lu Yi and Lin Jia to apologize, and she also wanted to retaliate. She had already imagined the scene, and a sense of pleasure suddenly appeared in her heart. Yi Fan knows Wang Yan's virtues and doesn't quite believe her words. He walked up to Lin Jia and asked her in a low voice, "Is it really like what Wang Yan said?" Lin Jia shook her head and said, "Of course not, the fact is not like that." As she spoke, she told Yi Fan about Wang Yan forcibly taking Lu Yi's prayer beads and the process of her retrieving them. After hearing this, Yi Fan felt very angry about Wang Yan's actions. He turned to Pang Bo and said, "Pang Bo, things are not what Wang Yan said. What she said is all false." Upon hearing this, Pang Bo was immediately furious. He turned his head and cursed at Wang Yan, saying, "Wang Yan, you are such a trash. You know how to deceive and take advantage of people all day. Are you sick? Taking someone else's things away and claiming it was an exchange, do you think we are all fools?" Wang Yan saw that Pang Bo didn't eat her tricks and was scolded by him, and her face immediately turned ugly. She pointed at Pang Bo and said, "Pang Bo, did you secretly collude with those two women, and they said you believed them?" Pang Bo sneered and said, "Do you think everyone will believe your mouth? You've been known for bullying and deceiving people all day, and you're the one to be punished." Wang Yan looked around for a week, and indeed everyone became indifferent, so her momentum also weakened. She snorted and turned back to her group of people. Lin Jia doesn't want to just let Wang Yan go like this. Even if you can't kill her now, make her kneel down and apologize. Lin Jia suddenly had an idea. Although these people could walk a little further and see the buildings described in the original work, and then find a way out, no one knows now. In this terrifying place, everyone is eager to find a way out and leave. She just needs to reveal a little about what will happen next, and everyone will definitely believe her. Wang Yan will definitely follow the thread of having a way out. After all, it's not about taking her life. Lin Jia was pondering, and Yi Fan and Pang Bo were also unwilling to give up. They were about to speak when Lin Jia suddenly clapped her hands to attract everyone's attention. She smiled lightly and said, "I wonder if everyone is interested in knowing the way out of here." As soon as everyone heard this, they immediately became energized and looked over. Pang Bo didn't care about the accounts anymore, so he first asked, "Lin Jia, do you know the way out? Tell us quickly." Lin Jia smiled and said, "Of course I know, but..." Her gaze turned to Wang Yan, "Before I tell everyone, I have a small condition." Everyone's gaze also turned to Wang Yan. Wang Yan had a bad premonition that she knew Lin Jia must want to target herself. Sure enough, Lin Jia spoke up and said, "Wang Yan needs to kneel down and apologize in front of everyone, admit her mistake, and promise not to act recklessly in the future. Only then will I tell everyone the way to leave here. Otherwise, everyone will find their own way." Everyone looked at each other in confusion. Neither of them were fools, nor did Lin Jia say that the way out was the way out. Based on her previous performance, she probably didn't know this place either. She hasn't been here before, and now she suddenly says she knows the way out. Who would believe it? Li Changqing's eyes twitched slightly and he asked, "Why do we believe in you?" Lin Jia said confidently, "I once saw a description of this place in an ancient book. I wasn't quite sure at first, but I was only certain when I saw the 4 words of the forbidden area in the wilderness. There probably isn't anything else on that one, but there happens to be this map. If you don't believe it, let's walk along that direction and walk forward for a while, and we can see the temple standing on the mountaintop. If we can see it, it should prove that what I said is true, and vice versa. Li Changqing showed a pensive expression, clearly moved. Their experiences along the way told them how dangerous it was. Demons and monsters exist, so they naturally want to leave. Wang Yan saw the situation was not good and wanted to struggle for a while, but Li Xiaoman had already spoken. Sure, as long as what you say is true, we will support you. Li Changqing and others also nodded and agreed. Wang Yan's face turned pale and she sat slumped on the ground. People are selfish, let alone people like Li Changqing, so they don't care about her thoughts. Lin Jia pointed to the other side of the direction in which he and others were moving, deliberately taking a detour. The crowd didn't think much and proceeded in the direction indicated. Lin Jia didn't dare to go too far, afraid of any changes. This is a forbidden area in ancient times. If it weren't for Yi Fan, who has the appearance of an empress brother, she would have been torn to pieces by the wild slaves long ago. Fortunately, there were no unexpected incidents, and it went smoothly around to the place where Lin Jia was going. As expected, everyone saw several peaks in the distance, and could vaguely see cranes flying in towering buildings, just like a fairyland. Everyone was overjoyed and suddenly believed Lin Jia's words. Lin Jia felt a bit guilty in her heart. If they knew that this place was in the right direction from the beginning, would they go crazy? However, except for Yi Fan and Li Xiaoman who glanced behind them, no one else made any unnecessary moves. There was no need for anyone else to urge her, so Li Changqing urged Wang Yan to kneel down quickly and not delay her journey. The selfishness of human nature was undoubtedly revealed. Wang Yan had no choice but to kneel down and say, "I was wrong. I shouldn't have wronged you. I'm sorry." As she spoke, she lowered her head and a hint of resentment flashed in her eyes. I believe that if given the opportunity, she would never make Lin Jia feel better. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Stone Wall. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Stone Wall. Lin Jia naturally knew that he had become a mortal enemy with Wang Yan, but he didn't panic at all. If he followed their development, he would naturally be able to eliminate them. She knew that this group of people were discussing dealing with Yi Fan and the others, and after being discovered, she was directly thrown into the tiger's den by Yi Fan and the others. Li Xiaoman didn't want the conflict to escalate, so he quickly helped Wang Yan up and comforted her, saying, "Wang Yan, it's all our fault for making you feel wronged. It's all to find a way out, so just endure it." Wang Yan seemed to have no grievances at all. She said, "It's okay, it's all my fault. I shouldn't lie and embarrass everyone." In fact, she was already calculating how to retaliate against Lin Jia in her heart. She thought, "Lin Jia, I will remember what happened today. Just wait, I will find an opportunity to retaliate sooner or later." Li Changqing and the others also stepped forward to comfort Wang Yan. "Wang Yan, don't mind. It's all about going out, and everyone won't really make things difficult for you. It's okay, we know you mean well, but we blame Lin Jia for going too far. Take it as if we owe you, and we will definitely compensate you well after you leave." Wang Yan pretended to be aggrieved and said, "You are too kind to me. I know you won't really make things difficult for me. It's all Lin Jia's personal behavior, and it's not related to everyone. I won't really mind, you can rest assured." In fact, she had already memorized this grudge in her heart, and when she had the opportunity, she would definitely settle the accounts. She decided to remove the obstacle that hindered her, Lin Jia. She looked aggrieved in front of everyone, but in fact, she had already secretly planned revenge, and anyone who offended her would die. Seeing that Wang Yan seemed to be okay, Li Xiaoman turned to look at Lin Jia and asked, "Lin Jia, since you know the way out, which direction should we go now? As soon as others heard this, they all looked at Lin Jia eagerly, hoping to know the way to leave this haunted place. Lin Jia knew that this was not the time to handle things casually, so she simply said, "Just come with me." After speaking, she turned around and walked forward. Her behavior doesn't look at all worried about encountering danger, she looks confident. When everyone saw this, they had to keep up. Li Xiaoman quickly said, "Everyone follow Lin Jia. We are finally going to find a way out." Pang Bo and his companions were also overjoyed and excitedly said, "We're out. Finally, we can leave this damn place." Everyone followed behind Lin Jia, although they didn't know what danger was waiting for them ahead, knowing there was a way out now was enough to excite everyone. Everyone was full of expectations and followed behind Lin Jia, afraid of losing the person who knew the way out. Although Wang Yan didn't trust Lin Jia very much, there was only one way to keep up now. She thought to herself, "When we find a way out, we'll strangle you, strangle you." She followed behind the crowd with resentment, her fingers pinched white. Because we have finally found a way out, everyone is eager to leave this dangerous place. So although there were still some unresolved conflicts between Wang Yan and Lin Jia, now everyone is in a hurry to get out, so there hasn't been any dispute. Everyone eagerly followed behind Lin Jia, and Lin Jia led everyone over one mountain after another. Although the process was painful and arduous, everyone gritted their teeth and followed, and no one said they were tired. Pang Bo climbed the mountain and said, "No matter how difficult it is to walk, I have to go out. I don't want to stay here for another second." Yi Fan's expression remained calm, his face not turning red and his breath not panting, as if he was not climbing a mountain or rushing on his way, which was astonishing. Lu Yi had poor physical fitness, but she persevered and refused to fall behind when she thought of finally finding a way out. Even Wang Yan, although still harboring hostility towards Lin Jia, could only temporarily restrain herself and follow everyone to climb the uneven mountain road step by step. Everyone gritted their teeth and only wanted to leave, so wherever Lin Jia took them, they followed without complaint. Although our physical strength is exhausted and our limbs are sore, no one says they are tired, fearing that if we slow down, we will miss this rare opportunity. Damn it, they're all iron men. They don't even talk about rest. It's embarrassing for me to say that. Lin Jia's calf trembled. Fortunately, he still exercised at ordinary times. He barely held on, but he couldn't help roast. After walking a long way again, Lu Yi couldn't bear it anymore. She said, "Lin Jia, can we take a break? I'm a bit tired." Others were also somewhat shaken when they heard a suggestion to rest, hoping for Lin Jia's reply. Without hesitation, Lin Jia said, "Okay, let's take a break before we set off." Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when they heard the guide agree to rest, and finally they could rest their feet. Although we have climbed several mountains, we still haven't seen the way out, and everyone is feeling a bit uneasy. Li Changqing walked directly to Lin Jia and asked, "Lin Jia, how long will we have to walk before we can go out?" Others perked up their ears when they heard this question, hoping for Lin Jia's answer. Lin Jia said, "If everything goes smoothly, it could be as short as 1 day or as fast as 2 days, and we can leave here." Her tone was very affirmative, and her expression was also confident. When everyone heard this, although it would take another day or 2 to leave here, there was finally a deadline, and they breathed a sigh of relief in their hearts. At least there was hope for a way out. They all relaxed, sat down and rested, ready to continue moving forward. Lin Jia looked at the expressions of the people around her and felt a sweat for herself. She couldn't say that she didn't actually know the route, only knew that she could go out along the original route in the original work. If known, being beaten is light. Fortunately, I left the original work in just 2 days. The time is certain, otherwise I wouldn't know how to answer. Everyone took a break and continued to set off, while Yi Fan and Pang Bo helped Lu Yi, who couldn't move forward. Sure enough, not long after walking, the desolate scene gradually disappeared and the greenery began to increase. After a while, everyone saw some small animals and a stone wall with the 4 big characters, "Forbidden Area in the Past," written on it. Just looking at this stone wall, everyone knows it's not far from the exit. As long as one is not foolish, they all know that stone walls should represent entrances or exits. After all, in places where people are accustomed to, there are usually warning signs. Everyone cheered immediately when they saw this stone wall. "We're out. I'm finally about to leave here. Lin Jia, thank you for taking us to find a way out." Everyone embraced happily together, celebrating the joy of leaving this haunted place. Although Wang Yan has always been wary of Lin Jia, now she looks like she's about to go out and happily says, "Lin Jia, it seems you're right. We really need to go out." Lin Jia nodded and said, "I've told you before, I know the way to get out of here. Now everyone believes me." Everyone nodded and cheered one after another. Although they haven't really gone out yet, seeing the signs on the stone wall, the changes in scenery, and the appearance of small animals, everyone is happy to believe that they are about to successfully leave, and a joyful atmosphere spreads among everyone. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Tiger, Tiger, I Can't Distinguish. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Tiger, Tiger, I Can't Distinguish. Everyone is about to leave, so we have decided to take a good rest here and maintain our physical fitness before setting off. After all, it is very likely that the outside world is completely different from Earth. What should we do if there is danger and physical exhaustion? So, the crowd naturally divided into 3 small groups, each looking for a place to sit down and rest. A small group composed of Li Changqing, Wang Yan, and others, far away from the small group of Yi Fan, Pang Bo, and Lin Jia, maintaining a certain distance from each other. Everyone sat apart to rest and play. Lin Jia saw Pang Bo suddenly muttering something to Yi Fan. As she wasn't sitting too close, she couldn't hear what they were saying. Even if you can't hear Lin Jia, you know what you're talking about. Isn't it just to deal with the group of people like Li Changqing? Lin Jia found a flat large stone and sat down, comfortably leaning against it, taking a deep breath. After a long walk, I can finally stop and rest well. It feels so comfortable. The surroundings are peaceful, with occasional sounds of birds chirping and insects chirping. The warm sunshine shone through the tree shadows and onto Lin Jia's body, making her feel warm all over. She really wanted to sleep like this. She waited quietly for something to happen. If she remembered correctly, Li Changqing and others were thrown into the tiger's den and saved by the Deshang holy body deity Nian, or the crocodile ancestor. Now that I know it, I won't let them go. Now that I have offended the other party, only a dead person can make me feel at ease. Not far away, Pang Bo and Yi Fan whispered for a while, and Pang Bo headed towards the group of people led by Li Changqing. After a while, Lin Jia realized that Pang Bo had secretly returned. He whispered a few words in Yi Fan's ear, and after listening, Yi Fan stood up with a serious expression, indicating that something was happening. Wang Ziwen, who was closer to Yi Fan, seemed to have heard something and asked, "What happened?" Yi Fan didn't answer and turned to look at Pang Bo, saying, "Didn't you record it on your phone? Let me show it to everyone." At this moment, everyone else also noticed the situation here and looked towards Yi Fan. Pang Bo didn't say much, he opened his phone and played the recording. Everyone listened to the recording, their faces darkened from confusion at the beginning until later. Li Changqing and Wang Yan planned to harm the lives of Yi Fan and others, and in the recording, these people were involved in the planning process. Their malicious thoughts were simply excessive. After playing the recording, Pang Bo closed his phone cover and said, "Everyone heard me. These 3 white-eyed jackals are trying to kill me, Yi Fan, and Lin Jia. They also want to rape Lin Jia first and then kill him. It's too much. Don't blame us for not caring about our friendship this time." At this moment, Yi Fan strode forward without saying anything. Pang Bo followed closely behind, and everyone else stood up as they entered the forest. When Li Changqing and Wang Yan saw Yi Fan and Pang Bo strode towards them, after all, they had a ghost in their hearts and were immediately a little startled. As soon as Pang Bo was about to speak, Lin Jia sighed and said, "I took you out with kindness. How could you treat me like this? You want to rape me first and then kill me. It's like a wolf's heart and dog's lung. You're talking nonsense." Li Changqing broke out in a cold sweat on the spot. Pang Bo saw this and played the recording again, directly hitting the hammer. Li Changqing and the others turned pale, knowing that something was wrong, and began to argue. How could everyone believe it, and began to condemn it? Amidst the condemnation, Lin Jia quietly moved away from the crowd and headed towards the cliff. According to the original work, there is a nest of saber-toothed tigers on the cliff, but their parents went out to hunt. Lin Jia must not directly kill himself, otherwise it would be bad to leave an impression in Yi Fan's eyes of being ruthless and using all means to achieve his goals. To Emperor Yi, one must be both cautious and cautious. Besides, if others are unwilling to take action, Lin Jia cannot kill 3 people alone. Therefore, she plans to find the parents of the saber-toothed tiger to come back. If she remembers well, in Earth records, the saber-toothed tiger has a sensitive nose, so it should be easy to find her parents. All you need to do is obtain a character card to transform. When the adult saber-toothed tiger returns, Yi Fan and his team are eager to escape but not far away. The gods Nian and the crocodile ancestor should not appear. Otherwise, there would have been slaughter of everyone long ago, so there should have been some kind of concern for everyone. Lin Jia curled her lips and began to climb. Sword-toothed tigers can go up, let alone Lin Jia. She entered the cave, and 2 small saber-toothed tigers bared their teeth, but they were only a foot big and looked cute. Lin Jia reached out and quickly touched it, quickly retracting it. The little saber-toothed tiger's mouth pounced empty, and its sharp teeth made a sound, instantly putting on a mask of pain. She smiled and indeed had a hint in her mind. Character card Sword-toothed tiger, information collected, can be established. Do you want to establish a character card? Lin Jia saw that there was no danger warning above, so she chose yes. Character card creation in progress. Establishment completed. Character. Sword-toothed tiger, strength. Ordinary beast clan, playable, original/fake leather, Yuan Pai is the image of Lin Jia. Choosing this can gain the power to play the role. Pseudo-skin refers to the appearance and strength of the subject being played. Lin Jia didn't hesitate to choose fake skin, waves of white light enveloping her. The surface fluctuated like water, but there was no visible change inside. When the white light dissipated, a young saber-toothed tiger appeared in place, its eyes agile and full of wisdom. Being portrayed as the young saber-toothed tiger, he was so scared that he suddenly squeezed with another one, roaring low in his mouth. Not being portrayed as the one who looked at Lin Jia and then at his own brother, he sat on the ground and shook his tiger head, seeming confused. It seems to be saying, "Tiger, tiger, I can't distinguish between you." Lin Jia ignored these 2 and extended his tiger paw, trying to take a step. He was a bit uncomfortable, but fortunately he didn't need to learn. She sniffed and indeed smelled a different and familiar odor in the air, accompanied by a sour smell, like the smell of pickled vegetables rotting, coming from people. Lin Jia's stomach suddenly turned upside down, suppressing discomfort and jumping out of the cave, heading towards the place where he smelled the scent. The little saber-toothed tiger that was not portrayed was about to chase after him when he suddenly stopped and looked at the tiger being portrayed. He circled around there for a while before finally embracing his head with his claws and lying in place. Lin Jia didn't know these things. She ran quickly, but fortunately she didn't encounter any large predators along the way. Soon, she saw 2 huge figures. The huge black and white striped figure had already gathered around without Lin Jia going over. One of them seemed dissatisfied with Lin Jia's reckless running, and after pulling a few times, Lin Jia shook his head and fell to the ground. Lin Jia shook her head, woke up and roared twice before running towards the hole. Two adult saber-toothed tigers seemed to recognize something and quickly ran over, lifting Lin Jia's beak and rushing towards the hole. The adult saber-toothed tiger is very fast, and it takes only a short time to reach the hole. There are 3 more people inside, just like Wang Yan. Yi Fan and the others haven't gone far yet, so they probably just threw Wang Yan and the others into the hole. They panicked at the sight of an adult saber-toothed tiger and quickly ran away. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Entanglement. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Entanglement. The 2 adult saber-toothed tigers didn't care about that and immediately rushed into the cave. Their son was more important than the others. The 2 people inside the cave struggled and roared angrily, biting to death in just a few bites. Yi Fan and other people in the distance have also disappeared, obviously they have already escaped. Lin Jia saw that the plan was successful, and she didn't plan to stay here. Just as she was about to slip away, the 2 saber-toothed tigers suddenly realized something was wrong. They glared at each other, ran to Lin Jia's side to smell it, and then ran to their own son's side to smell it. After smelling the smell, they were stunned, exactly the same. After a moment of hesitation, the male saber-toothed tiger looked at the female saber-toothed tiger and roared. The female's face showed anger and also responded with a growl. Then the 2 saber-toothed tigers started fighting, and Lin Jia stopped watching the excitement and immediately ran towards the distance. After running a certain distance, she finally transformed her appearance into her original self. After finishing all of this, she immediately ran towards the direction of the exit. The group of Yi Fan, who had already run away, finally stopped and gathered together to rest. Li Xiaoman suddenly realized something was wrong and said, "We're missing Lin Jia. We're missing Lin Jia." Upon hearing this, everyone else was surprised. Looking around, there was indeed no presence of Lin Jia. Everyone fell into a brief silence, unsure of what to do. Finally, someone spoke up and said, "Let's go out first. It's not too late to come back and find Lin Jia when we meet someone. In case there's any danger here, let's go out and ensure safety first." Someone objected, "No way. We must go back and find Lin Jia now, otherwise if something happens, we will all run away. It's not kind. But what if we go back now and encounter those tigers and leopards? Our safety also needs to be considered. Lin Jia knows the way, we can't leave her alone." Everyone is discussing and arguing endlessly. Li Xiaoman also found it difficult to make a choice. She said, "But it's very dangerous for us to act separately now. If we all encounter danger, that's even worse. Should we go back to find Lin Jia or leave here first?" Everyone has their own opinions, and with every word you say, I cannot continue the argument. Yi Fan also frowned and fell into deep hesitation. "Do you want to go back and find Lin Jia? This is a matter of life safety. If you can't find Lin Jia back and risk your own life, it won't be worth the loss." Yi Fan pondered. "We left too quickly just now. If we go back now, can we find any traces of Lin Jia? What if Lin Jia finds it and encounters danger? Are we enough to rescue her? If we can't go back and find Lin Jia, how can we ensure our safety? But let's leave Lin Jia alone. If anything happens to her, our conscience will also feel guilty." Just as Yi Fancy was pondering, a footstep suddenly sounded, bringing an abrupt end to everyone's argument. Everyone looked over and saw Lin Jia standing not far away. She patted the dust on her hand and loudly said, "You're running so fast, leaving me alone. If I encounter danger, you'll run away." Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out that Lin Jia had already been found, so there was no need for everyone to take the risk of going back to find her or facing that decision. Li Xiaoman was the first to run towards Lin Jia with a smile and said, "Lin Jia, it's good for you to come back. We're struggling whether or not to go back and find you." Lin Jia glanced at them and said, "If you leave me, I'll hang here and you'll run away, it won't be good." Everyone laughed and gathered together with peace of mind. With Lin Jia present, they feel much more at ease. Lin Jia immediately said seriously, "We must leave here quickly, otherwise those saber-toothed tigers from behind will catch up and we will only have a dead end." When others heard the saber-toothed tiger, their faces showed signs of fear. Sword-toothed tiger. Oh my God, what are we waiting for? Let's go. Hurry up and leave, I don't want to stay in this damn place. Everyone agreed with Lin Jia's opinion. Li Xiaoman's face turned pale and he stuttered, Lin Jia, the saber-toothed tiger you mentioned won't really catch up with us, will it? Will it catch up with us? We have no choice but to leave quickly now. Lin Jia's tone was very stern. Everyone looked frightened when faced with the possibility of a saber-toothed tiger. I just want to leave this haunted place quickly, afraid of really encountering beasts. Let's go, hurry up. I don't want to stay here for another second either. As long as you can leave here, it's good to go anywhere. Everyone expressed their agreement, although they were still hesitating whether to come back to find Lin Jia earlier. Now that they heard that the sword-toothed tiger would catch up, everyone immediately agreed. Leave quickly. Lin Jia originally intended to quickly take everyone away, but she suddenly remembered that in the future she understood, there was actually a ferocious beast ahead that was even more ferocious than a saber-toothed tiger. If that fierce beast wants to deal with them, it's simply an easy task. So Lin Jia quickly reminded everyone, listen, there is a ferocious beast ahead that is even more ferocious than the saber-toothed tiger. So when we pass by later, we must hurry through and not stay there for too long to catch the attention of that ferocious beast, otherwise we will be finished. When the others heard that there was a more powerful beast ahead, they all showed expressions of fear. Is there anything even more aggressive? Oh my goodness, why are we so unlucky? Is there another way for us to leave without encountering those ferocious beasts? Everyone was extremely scared and their faces turned pale. Lin Jia, how powerful is that fierce beast? Are we enough to deal with it? Cade beside Li Xiaoman trembled and asked. Lin Jia shook her head and said, with our current strength, it's definitely not worth looking at. So the only way is to try to avoid it as much as possible and make a quick decision to pass through that place. We can't catch its attention, otherwise we'll have to die. When everyone heard this, they were all terrified and wanted to find another way out of here as soon as possible, without encountering that powerful beast. They looked at Lin Jia one by one, hoping for the answer they wanted. Unfortunately, Lin Jia didn't know any other way, she didn't dare to take risks. So Lin Jia immediately said seriously, there is no other way. The place where the fierce beast is a must-pass path. If we want to leave here, we must pass through there. As soon as the others heard this, their faces darkened and they hesitated, making it difficult to take a step forward. Wang Ziwen said, if we pass by there and catch the attention of that fierce beast, we might as well wait on the spot and die. If we encounter that fierce beast, why not touch it? Lu Yi also looked bitter. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Exiting the Forbidden Area. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Exiting the Forbidden Area. Everyone is unwilling to face the fierce beast that will appear at an unknown time, but there is no other way out, feeling very embarrassed. Seeing everyone looking like this, Lin Jia spoke up again, I know you're all afraid, but staying here will ultimately lead us to a dead end. Why don't we hurry forward and pass through there? As long as we're careful and don't attract the attention of that fierce beast, our chances of survival are still very high. Yi Fan nodded and said, Lin Jia is right. We cannot stay in this haunted place forever. Since we already know the way out, we must muster the courage to move forward. Pang Bo also said, although it's very dangerous, we can never get out unless we go out. I think we should give it a try and face that fierce beast. Everyone nodded when they heard Yi Fan and Pang Bo's words. Although still very scared, not moving forward is destined to lead to a dead end, so now the only way is to muster up the courage, follow Lin Jia carefully through the place of the fierce beast and strive to leave this ghost place alive. Lin Jia walked ahead first, followed closely by Yi Fan and Pang Bo. When others saw such a situation, they could only reluctantly follow. At least with so many people, the chances of survival are even greater. Everyone continued to move forward and soon encountered a quiet black lake. Because we knew in advance that there would be a ferocious beast appearing here, everyone consciously searched for its trace. There. That's there. Lu Yi's face was as pale as paper, and she trembled as she pointed towards the shore of the black lake. There is a giant stone over 10 meters long lying horizontally on the ground. It looks like something is lying behind that giant rock, only revealing part of its body. The skin on that thing was like black metal, cold and shiny, emitting a texture and luster of black gold. But without animal fur or scales covering it, its entire body is jet black, like cast black iron, shimmering with a metallic luster. It is less than 3 meters long, like a large black iron block, looking extremely sturdy and emitting an incredibly strong sense of power. Immediately after, the fierce beast seemed to sense pain and rolled over, revealing its more comprehensive appearance. At first glance, it looks like a strong cow, but upon closer inspection, it is completely different. It has 9 sharp horns growing on its head, unparalleled in sharpness, emitting a jet black luster. And it actually has 5 eyes. The 5 eyes, between opening and closing, emitted a red glow of blood. Its sharp teeth in its wide mouth are over half a foot long, exposed like daggers one by one, emitting a chilling light. It looks ferocious and terrifying, giving people an extremely terrifying feeling. Everyone was extremely frightened when they saw this scene, afraid of catching the attention of this unknown but seemingly extremely fierce creature. They just want to quickly pass through here and leave as quietly as possible, so as not to cause trouble. Everyone tiptoed forward, too nervous to breathe loudly, afraid of catching the attention of the fierce beast. They walked cautiously, trying to avoid stepping on anything that would make a noise. Sweat beads welled up on everyone's forehead, and their expressions were tense. Fortunately, the fierce beast didn't seem to notice their existence. It is still curled up behind the boulder, with no signs of getting up. The crowd finally succeeded in passing through there, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief, sweating profusely in their palms. Finally it's over. It's like a dead end, I thought it would jump up suddenly at any moment. It's unbelievable that we passed safely. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief and patted their chests with joy. Although they were super nervous just now, they managed to pass through the place where the fierce beast was located. It's incredible good luck. Now that they have left there, everyone's mood has also relaxed a lot. Although the road ahead is unknown, compared to the fierce creature we just encountered, the other obstacles seem insignificant. Everyone cheered each other and continued to move forward, hoping that the way out of this haunted place was really right in front of us. When the crowd climbed over a high peak and the contours of the distant palace buildings became clearer, everyone felt happy, which marked that they were about to leave this dangerous and desolate forbidden land. At this moment, Lin Jia did not show any signs of happiness. She sat cross-legged on the ground, as if waiting for something. Li Xiaoman has been paying attention to Lin Jia's behavior since she started leading the way. At this moment, seeing Lin Jia's abnormal behavior, he immediately wanted to ask her what was going on. But before he could even ask, a girl behind him called out, "It's so hot." Why is it so hot? Subsequently, more people felt a burning sensation on their bodies, which gradually intensified into pain. Everyone suddenly ignited a blood-red flame, rolling back and forth on the ground in pain. At this moment, Li Xiaoman suddenly realized that Lin Jia must know what was going to happen, that's why he had such a reaction. It was just too painful, everyone could only roll on the ground one by one, and no one could open their mouths to speak. They just passed out like this. Originally, at this last moment, they still encountered such a big trouble. If Lin Jia knew that such a thing would happen, why didn't she remind everyone earlier? Li Xiaoman thought vaguely in the scorching pain, and then she also fell to the ground, her consciousness sinking into the darkness. Lin Jia, who had already been mentally prepared, gave herself a stone and had already fainted without receiving any pain. As for smashing herself to death, it is simply impossible. After all, she has taken those fruits and her body has long been different from before. Otherwise, how could she dare to hit herself like this? When Lin Jia woke up, everyone didn't wake up, and suddenly felt grateful that they knew the plot, otherwise it would be an excruciating pain. She looked around and saw that except for Yi Fan, Pang Bo, and Lu Yi, everyone else had turned into old men and women, which was really ugly. As a woman, how could she possibly tolerate growing old? Lin Jia looked at the contrast and felt happy, feeling even more grateful that she knew the plot. In the original work, this forbidden area will devour life, and only that fruit can counteract the side effects. As long as you leave the forbidden area, those who have not taken fruits will age. In fact, she still has one on her body, and the rest is hidden. If she gives it to one of them, they will definitely restore their original appearance immediately. But this is for her to use in making item cards in the future, so she definitely can't give it to these people for me to use. Anyway, these people can't die either. Just get older. Just as Lin Jia was thinking this, Yi Fan and Pang Bo woke up first, their pink faces paired with a confused expression that was cute. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Sensing Abnormalities. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Sensing Abnormalities. As Yi Fan and Pang Bo woke up, everyone gradually turned around. But what the people who woke up saw was an extremely shocking scene, and everyone's appearance had undergone a huge change. Li Xiaoman opened his eyes and saw his hand covered in wrinkles. He quickly touched his face and suddenly found that his skin was loose and wrinkled all over his face. How could this be possible? The others were the same, looking at each other in terror, their faces filled with disbelief. Why are we so old? Wang Ziwen exclaimed in surprise. Others looked at others, their white hair and wrinkled face in awe. What exactly happened? We were still young just now. Several girls couldn't accept their elderly appearance at all, and their emotions were extremely panicked. And Lin Jia remained silent, just silently observing everyone. Li Xiaoman looked at Lin Jia with mixed feelings in his heart. She now understood that Lin Jia's previous behavior had already predicted that such a thing would happen, but everyone didn't pay attention, and now she is trapped in such a field. Nowadays, everyone is getting older by several decades. If there are other unexpected events in the future, how should they face all of them? Li Xiaoman felt unprecedentedly helpless, but also had a strange emotion towards Lin Jia. Why didn't she warn everyone so long ago? Moreover, she must know how to recover, otherwise why hasn't she changed, even becoming a little younger? Li Xiaoman grabbed Lin Jia's shoulders and asked with great excitement, what is there to restore us to our original state? Don't you know? Others also looked at Lin Jia with anticipation. After all, Lin Jia seemed very familiar with this road before, and it's not surprising to know this now. Lin Jia really feels like she's trapped in a cocoon. No matter what she says now, no one will believe and obey her words. Yi Fan and Pang Bo also walked over. They seem to want to know why they have become like this and if there is any way to change. Lin Jia looked at everyone's expectant eyes and felt like she had fallen into a quagmire. She knows that no matter what she says next, everyone will question her and wonder why she didn't warn everyone earlier if she knew this would happen. She said helplessly, I don't know why we suddenly age by a few decades and become what we are now. I know you must be doubting me now, but it's really the first time I've encountered such a situation. I didn't know this strange thing would happen beforehand. Don't you know? Li Xiaoman clearly didn't believe it. You had strange behavior on the road before, but now you say you don't know afterwards. Can we believe it? Do you know why we ended up like this? Hangbo didn't mind and casually asked, is there any way we can recover? Lin Jia shook her head helplessly and said, I really don't know anything. I just have a feeling that things are not that simple. This sudden change may hide some kind of test, but I still can't see what it is. I can only say that we must move forward carefully and strive to leave here as soon as possible. Everyone felt extremely helpless and discouraged upon hearing these words. Li Xiaoman seemed to have gone crazy, her long white hair flying in the wind as if she had lost her sanity. She kept asking Lin Jia, tell us quickly, how can we recover? You must know. Seeing Li Xiaoman's excited expression, Lin Jia had to reiterate, I really don't know why we suddenly aged. But there is indeed a way to recover. When others heard this, they immediately became happy. What's the solution? Tell us quickly. What should we do? Do you need any medication or do you need any rituals? Everyone gathered around Lin Jia, eagerly inquiring. Finally, there was a turning point, and they were all eager to know how to regain their youth. Lin Jia said, to restore youth, one must practice. You also know that this world is wonderful, and maybe even immortals exist. So finding a way to practice can gradually bring back youth. According to the last thing I remember, going out will give you the opportunity to find immortals. After listening to it, everyone felt overjoyed. It turned out that there was really a way to return to youth, which was simply amazing. However, it's not easy to find the cultivation room, and currently they don't know anything. Although there are many doubts, there are already goals and hopes, and everyone's emotions are noticeably rising. Everyone was afraid that they would continue to grow old here, so they helped each other and walked unsteadily towards the visible fairy palace. After a period of time, everyone looked at the immortal palace as if it was still far away. As Yi Fan walked, he quietly observed Lin Jia in the corner, feeling that Lin Jia had not revealed all the facts. Because he noticed that Lin Jia would occasionally look in a distant direction, as if searching for something. He carefully recalled his experiences during this period and found that Lin Jia was like an prophet, who could always predict what was about to happen. As for the records about classics that Lin Jia said, he doesn't believe them at all. If there were really records of classics on Earth, as an interested person in this field, I would definitely have read them earlier than Lin Jia. Moreover, Lin Jia was completely uninterested in these ancient classics before. Yi Fan's eyes narrowed slightly, and a bold conjecture surged in his heart. Is it possible that there is some connection between this Nine Dragons Pavilion and Lin Jia? Perhaps Lin Jia knew before coming on this trip that this journey was not easy. She seems to know this Kowloon pulling hall like the back of her hand, and it's not a place that ordinary people can easily know. She often looks into the distance. Is she waiting for someone? There seems to be some secret hidden in these details. Yi Fan felt that Lin Jia seemed to be more than just an ordinary classmate. She seems to have a deep understanding of this road, the Nine Dragons Pavilion, and even the secrets of the blood-red fruit. Yi Fan was full of doubts in his heart, but he had no intention of sharing his conjecture with others for the time being. He decided to secretly observe Lin Jia's every move, trying to find more evidence to determine his speculation. Lin Jia, what secret is hidden? If it's really related, he hopes to get a way to go home. Compared to cultivating immortality, he wants to show filial piety to his parents. Lin Jiatsai has just crossed over, and although he knows he needs to restrain himself, he is still very interested in cultivating immortals, so he is intentionally or unintentionally waiting for the fairies in the original work to come. Because my attention was too focused, I didn't notice Yi Fan's scrutiny. Hang Bo looked at Yi Fan and then at Lin Jia. He also felt something was wrong, but he couldn't tell. He was not stupid, and he also noticed that Lin Jia was different, so he didn't speak as he looked at Yi Fan looking at Lin Jia. End of this chapter.